Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Wednesday afternoon, or early evening I should say now, episode of Ted's Cellar with me, your most gracious host, Ted. It is currently about 6:30 on the 21st of February 2021. I hope I'm finding you all in a good state of affairs, and if I'm not, then I hope things improve for you very, very promptly. Now, there wasn't obviously any episodes last weekend due to some unforeseen technical issues, so unfortunately that's why there wasn't any episodes last week, so obviously apologies about that, but we're going to continue on as we mean to go on with today's episode, and that is obviously going to be on the second of the Berliner Kindl beers that was provided very kindly to me for my birthday by our good friend Big Phil. And once again, thank you to Big Phil for the drink of today's video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Berliner Kindl Waldmeister. Now, Phil did say that if there's one flavour that can potentially trump or match the popularity of like berries and fruits in German beers and food, it is probably most likely something like Waldmeister, which, as far as I can tell, seems to be some kind of sort of like woodruff flavour, as far as I can see, in terms of like what I can read about this drink online. And I had a look on Berliner Kindl's actual website here, and it says, like a walk in the forest with its finely tart, invigorating note and wonderfully bright green colour, the woodruff mix is at least as popular as the red raspberry variety, which is very encouraging because that red raspberry one was really good. For enjoyment to go, there is the sparkling Weiss mix, ready mixed. Now it says here it's got a 3.0% alcohol percentage. It's best served at between 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. It's got an original wort of 7.5%, 4 bitter units, and similar to the red raspberry one that we reviewed from these guys last time, it is top fermented in terms of the brewing process. And yeah, no, it looks like a pretty well-rounded beer. It sounds pretty archetypal of what a lot of German Waldmeister type sort of beers are like, so I'm looking forward to this. And I will say that I really like the design of the bottle. I think I actually really like the contrast between the silver and gold outlinings against the nice sort of green hue there. It very much does make me think of like a German forest. But yeah, it sort of just gives me an impression of, yeah, going and having pumpkin soup and going camping in like the Spielwald or something like that. So yeah, really nice actually. A very nicely designed bottle. Very simple, very classically Central European. I think I'll give it a... I'll give it a 10. I know I'm a bit of a sucker for Central European and Western European beer bottles, particularly from countries like Spain, Belgium, Germany, and, to a certain degree, the UK and obviously France as well. But I don't know. I just like the look of this. I think the colours just contrast really nicely against each other, if you can see here. And yeah, I just think the sort of the shimmering sheen of that silver really nicely contrasts against that swampy forest green. So yeah, very handsome. I think I'll give that a 10 out of 10 for sure. But yeah, let's have a quick snifter and see what our first impressions are like of the nose at least. And once again to my friend Maddie, thank you very much again for the Cyprus bottle opener. This is getting a lot of good use already. So let's have a quick snifter to see what our first impressions are like. Ooh, very subtle, almost honeyish smell actually. The woodruff smell is there in kind of the afternose, but the main sort of through line I'm getting is almost like a mixture of honey, woodruff, and elderflower, actually, weirdly enough, I feel, anyway. And a little bit of a sort of a sweet, zany, sort of like undercurrent to the smell there as well. It's actually a really nice nose. It's just not very characteristic full, and it's not super full-bodied, but, I mean, the nose is good. Yeah, it just could do with a bit more character to it, so I guess 6.5 out of 10? Yeah, it smells nice. It just could be a bit stronger in terms of that nose there. So I'll pour it into the glass so I can properly try. What? I did not figure this to be green. It's green. Amazing. Guess, because I've only ever drunk these woodruff ones out of the bottle. I guess I've never actually seen what the liquid looks like, so... Yeah, goodness me, look at that. Wow, that is very green. It doesn't show it quite rightly. Ah, now it does. Yeah, that in the camera is pretty much the shade of the drink, to be honest. It honestly looks really bizarre. It looks like it's almost like some sort of bizarre carbonated mint drink, like a mint soda or something. It really is quite fascinating to look at. It's this not neon sheen green. It's kind of like almost like a swampy sort of green, but yeah, I don't know. It's not got the greatest eye to it, I've got to say. like eye is probably like an 5 out of 10. It's not terrible actually. It looks fine, but it's just a bit of an unexpected colour, I guess I was going to say. But let's have a proper sniff of it in the glass. Oh yeah, that nose is a little bit better in the glass. It's more like a 7.5 to 7.75 out of 10 for the nose in the glass. It's definitely more prominent. Again, I think it could be more fuller bodied, but it's definitely more prominent, and it just basically lets the pre-mentioned flavours that I mentioned before from the nose just speak out a little bit more, as you would expect. So yeah, the nose in the glass is like a 7.5 to 7.75 out of 10. It is good. It's just, again, could be a bit more fuller bodied, really. But as always, as is Imogen and Owen's favourite part of the video, quick palate cleanser of water. And then on to the most important part of the video, which is to see what this sucker tastes like. And to everyone watching at home, bottoms up. Let's see what this sucker tastes like. It's got this slightly piney kind of undercurrent. And the main through line is this kind of hazy German beery sort of sweetness. And obviously the main through line beyond that is the woodruff. The woodruff kind of does overpower other aspects of the flavour quite considerably. But the sort of like the general tartness kind of does sort of like tie everything together. But the overall sort of like sourness and tartness does kind of tie all of the flavours together generally pretty well. So even though the woodruff flavour is quite overpowering, it doesn't really spoil the enjoyment of the drink. That being said, I do feel like the flavour is a little bit imbalanced here. But even then, the flavour that is here is nice. It's heavy in texture, and it's got a wet texture to the finish, and the main through line is very flavoursome and characterful. It's quite a weird contrast, in fact, to the nose, which was more balanced and characterful, and this is kind of the complete opposite in terms of the taste. It's very characterful, and it's very full of flavour, but it's just very imbalanced. Yeah, the woodruff kind of overpowers the other flavours, and it does kind of sort of spoil it a little bit in terms of how good the drink could be. I do feel like this could be better, and there's potential here for this to be better, but I just feel like, yeah, the balance of flavours is a little bit much. It's really mainly a singular flavour for the main through line, with kind of this sort of almost piney undercurrent to sort of undercut everything, with this slight tartness at the end to kind of finish it off, and that is nice, and the texture actually kind of does complement it in that sense, because I feel like for something like the raspberry one that we had last time, you kind of want it to be a bit lighter and springier, whereas with this, I kind of would imagine this to be a bit heavier in texture, and I feel like that does complement the flavours quite nicely, although that being said, it is still compulsively drinkable, and it is very smooth. So, yeah, I would say that I would go out of my way to try this again. I just think the flavour could be a bit more balanced, but generally it is good. So I'll say 6.25 to 6.5 out of 10. It's good. It's definitely above average. I just think there is some room for improvement, but generally it is pretty good. I do say generally with fruit-based beers that I do tend to more like berry-based ones, but generally I would say go for this if you think it's interesting enough, or if you just like the flavour of woodruff enough anyway. So yeah, give it a shot and see what you think. Yeah, it's actually pretty good, to be fair, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, as well as any suggestions for future episodes of Ted's Booze Cellar. Let me know as well in the comment section down below if you want to see any other video formats on this channel in the future as well. And if you want to check out my other social medias, I'll leave the video and social media links in the video description down below. And if you like this video, leave a like, share and subscribe. And until next time, stay safe, have fun with whatever you're doing. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, wash your hands, drink responsibly, know your limits, and I'll see you guys at the bar next time on Ted's Booze Cellar. Bye-bye for now.